1989, Medellín, Colombia. Atlético Nacional wins the Copa Libertadores, the biggest club trophy in South American football, the South American Champions League. The streets erupt, flags wave, and fireworks explode, with an entire city celebrating. But there is one man in the stand who isn't there for football: Pablo Escobar, the richest criminal in history. And Pablo Escobar funded Atlético Nacional, turning them into the continental champions by winning the 1989 Copa Libertadores. Blood money, drug money, cartel money built the greatest team in Colombian football history. This is a story nobody wants to tell: how Colombian football was built on cocaine, how it collapsed when the cartels fell, and how 35 years later a new generation is trying to redeem a sport stained by violence. Welcome to the World Cup Chronicles. At least 6 of Colombia's top football clubs were either owned or funded by the drug cartel. Atlético Nacional, funded by the famous Pablo Escobar and the Medellín cartel. América de Cali, funded by rival drug trafficker James Rodríguez and the Cali cartel. Millonarios, Independiente Santa Fe, Deportivo Cali, once Caldelas, all of them touched by narco money. The cartel did not just sponsor these teams, they owned them, they controlled them, and used them to launder their money for their benefit. And in 1984, Justice Minister Rodrigo Lara Bonilla was gunned down after investigating where the money came from in these football clubs, losing his life for looking where the money was coming from. But on the football side, it just kept getting better, with Atlético Nacional reaching the pinnacle of South American football by winning the Copa Libertadores, built on Pablo Escobar's money, played by Colombia's best players and talents, and celebrated by the entire nation, despite them all knowing where everything came from. And the violence crept onto the pitch, because in 1989, referee Alvaro Ortega lost his life following some controversial decision refereeing a Colombian football game. A referee losing his life for making decisions that made the cartel lose money. This showed that this was not just football anymore, this was life and death. And just 5 years before that, at the World Cup in America, 1994, the game America against Colombia, where Colombia were one of the favorites, being ranked 5th in the world rankings. Carlos Valderrama and his frizzy hair was made the avatar of Colombia rather than Pablo Escobar and his drug money. This was supposed to be Colombia's moment to show the entire world that they were not just a country of cartels and drug money. Andrés Escobar, their captain, the center back, and one of the most respected players in Colombian football. Andrés Escobar slides to stop an American cross, but unfortunately puts the ball in his own net, making Colombia go down 1-0, eventually losing the game against the United States 2-1, eventually being knocked out of the group stages. And 10 days later, at a parking lot in Medellín outside a nightclub, Andrés Escobar lost his life, being gunned down and shot 6 times. 120,000 people attended his funeral, and the entire nation was in mourning, not just for the lost life of a footballer, but for what Colombia as a nation had become. But narco-football ended with the life of Pablo and Andrés Escobar. Without the infusion of illicit funds, the club football decided to disintegrate. Of Colombia's 14 teams, 12 are now on the verge of bankruptcy, and the money dried up. And when the money dried up, Colombian football disappeared. 2002 World Cup did not qualify. 2006 World Cup did not qualify. 2010 World Cup did not qualify. For 16 years and 3 consecutive World Cups, Colombia disappeared. Colombia's football clubs went bankrupt. Their national team became irrelevant. And an entire nation realized that you can't build something lasting on blood money. But when the World Cup came back to South America and Brazil in 2014, Colombia, after 16 years, was finally back. But with a new generation of Carlos Bacca, Radamel Falcao, and Juan Cuadrado, and a 22-year-old midfielder. Who was that? Well, it was James Rodríguez. And James Rodríguez stepped up this World Cup because Colombia won all 3 of their group stage games, and in the round of 16 they faced Uruguay. And this game, we all know what happened.
Con Jackson Martínez, vuelve a ver Aguilar, toca atrás para James, mete un rebote, ¡qué golazo! ¡Gol de Colombia! ¡Gol de Colombia! ¡Gol de Colombia!
One of the greatest World Cup goals ever. And with that, Colombia win 2-0, securing their place for their first time in their history in the quarterfinals of a World Cup. And James finished the tournament with 6 goals, securing him the Golden Boot for the World Cup, as long as winning the Puskas Award for his goal against Uruguay. And after that, Real Madrid paid up 80 million euros. Even though Colombia lost in the quarterfinals against Brazil by 2-1, they still celebrate because they done it. Clean football with no violence or drug money, just pure talent and hard work. But after that, there was a cycle of hope and disappointment, hope and disappointment. Sure, they qualified for the 2018 World Cup where they were knocked out on penalties by England, but they missed out on the 2022 World Cup. So, hope and disappointment. But there was something building here. In 2022, Colombia appointed Argentine coach Néstor Lorenzo, and he had a new project. A project he called Fútbol con Futuro, which is football with a future, as Colombia tried to rewrite what football meant for them and win silverware. But how did that look on the pitch? It translated to a 28-game unbeaten streak, only losing out in the final of the 2024 Copa America to Leo Messi's Argentina. But they were back, and this time it felt different. And what makes it different is the players in the squad. And there are 3 players which I want to highlight and mention specifically. Now the first one is the one we've already spoken a bit about, James Rodríguez. But at this moment in time, he's 34 years old, meaning this is probably his last World Cup. And while he is Colombia's World Cup qualifiers top goal scorer with 14 goals, he is past his prime. But they will still look to him for inspiration and magic on the pitch, which he undoubtedly still can provide. And which he wants to, because this is probably his last chance. Now the heir to his throne would probably be Luis Diaz, one of the best left wingers in the world at this current moment in time. His transfer from Liverpool to Bayern was a complete success and has been on fire this season. And the same with Colombia. For Colombia, he has 19 goals in 66 games and is one of the most expensive German transfers in history. But this is his first World Cup. So at 29 years old, he will play his first and James his last. They will be passing the torch on to him. So what does this World Cup mean for Colombia? Because it's more than just football at this point. It's about escaping a 35-year-old shadow that has been looming from Pablo Escobar and his drug money influencing their football. Pablo Escobar funding Atlético Nacional to the Copa Libertadores title. Andrés Escobar losing his life after scoring an own goal for his national team. Narco-football disappearing with the cartel. And the country's clubs and national team disintegrated. The national team being gone from the world stage for 16 years but coming back in 2014. And now in 2026, a new generation gets their chance. This is Fútbol con Futuro. Football with a future. Not football with blood money, not football with cartel, but football built on talent and hope and redemption. So this is their chance to show that their best football can be built on something else than blood money. A nation trying to prove that redemption is possible, that you can rebuild from the ashes, and that football, clean football, can help heal a nation that has been broken by violence. So now Colombia returns to the World Cup, not built on cocaine, but built on talent and hard work.